Whenever we're stacking the intervals of a second, we need to do these in a specific way. Whenever you're stacking notes, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring these notes down as one harmonic unit here and stem them together. Same thing here, and so forth. Obviously there will be no stems on whole notes, so there's no meter signature here. Whenever you're doing this, the thing to always remember, regardless of the instrumentation, regardless of the staff, clef, how high or low the notes are, the lowest note in a second, and the interval of a second is a two-note unit, like E to F, E, F, A and a B, A, B. We always count inclusively when we're understanding intervals. So you always count the first one as one and go forward. So essentially it's the next letter note, like all these that we see here. E and a D, that's two letter notes apart, counting inclusively. F and an E, two letter notes apart. These are all seconds. When this happens and we're stemming them and stacking them, the lowest note in a second is always placed to the left. This is very important to remember when stacking seconds. So these are ones that I see on occasion when I'm grading papers, and this is not good. Not possible. You're not going to stack a C and a D because obviously they eclipse each other, and although it's kind of attractive artistically, it's inaccurate from a music notation standpoint. This is also wrong. They're stacked adjacent, touching each other, which is nice, which is good, the way it should be, but the lower of the two notes, in this case, the D, is not on the left side, it's on the right side. This is wrong. These are both wrong. So how do we stack these two? Well, I've got here an E and a D. They need to be touching each other always when they're in the same voice like this, but they need to be set up in a way so that the lower of the two notes is on the left. They will always share a stem, and in this case that stem is going to go down from the lowest note approximately 1 octave. So this is correct, and anything else, any other way to stack these would not be correct. Same thing here. E and an F, or F and an E. The E is the lower of the two notes. I'm going to start by writing that one. You could go the other way if you wanted to. The two notes will set right next to each other, like so, touching each other with the lower of the two notes to the left, in this case E. They'll stem up, approximately an octave from the highest note. Same thing here, but we've got whole notes. They don't feature a stem. E, F, and they'll just touch each other and sit there. If they had a stem, the stem would go down, but they do not. So we're done with that one. These two notes, the B and the C, well, the B will sit just to the left of the C, and we stem them. Which direction do we stem them? Which one is furthest from the center line? The C is furthest from the center line. So if it was sitting by itself, its stem would go down. Therefore, the stem from this structure would go down. So we still keep in mind that furthest from the center line principle. Here we have an A and a B. A is the lower of the two notes. I'm going to extend this ledger line, put the B here, let's fix that a little bit, and stem them down an octave from the A. So they'll share a ledger line. And here, the G and the A. G is the lower of the two notes, A is the upper of the two notes, stem them up about an octave from the A. This one will be correct. So now you can see a pattern here. And again, these are all covered in my book, but this supplementary video shows this information too. So how do I do this? How do I write these things? Here they are. Wrong, correct. All right, welcome to the next video where we're going to stack some harmonic structures in accordance to the last one. So these are harmonic structures we're going to compile into one big quarter note chord, and we're going to solve problems like which way do we stem this thing, and we have the intervals of seconds involved with these structures, so they can be very confusing to many people. So we're going to solve that problem, just bringing in all of the tenets or rules, principles that we brought in, that we introduced in the last video. So for this big structure, we're going to compile all 6 of these notes into one quarter note structure, and then that beast there that I more nicely wrote all the notes out in order that will stack into one big harmony. And we'll do one other thing with this clip here. So what I need to do is stack all of these notes vertically with each other so we can figure out what to do here. I'm going to take the farthest one here, I'm going to take the lowest one right here, and I know that since the lowest note is a B in this case, the stem, this is going to govern the direction of the stem, so I'm going to do that right away. I don't have to, but I'm going to. Stem goes up approximately a 7 from that G, if I can get that, if you'll agree. So these two notes are taken care of right here. Now I got to stack all these other ones inside so that they all are touching. They all have to be in contact with this stem. Now we see that these two notes, C and D, are the interval of a second, CD. You can see them right next to each other. They need to stack onto here. What was the rule on that? The rule was that the lowest of the two notes, in this case the C, needs to be on the left. So I'm going to put it there, touching the stem as it should. The D would be on the opposite side, which looks a little odd, but that's the way seconds stack. So one will always sit on there as though it seems normal. The other will seem somewhat odd. When the stem direction goes down, that roll is obviously flipped. So we need to get a G and an F onto here. Satisfied these. The lower of the two is the F. I'm going to put the F on the left, G on the right. This way would be the way to stack this structure. So if we had to stack all these notes into one harmonic structure, there they are. And just in case you were curious, if all of these notes would have been, say, whole notes, which don't require a stem, obviously, the same thing needs to be set up. These would all sit in line as if there was a stem, so just stack these as if there was a stem. The D would be in contact with the C right there, G with the F, and that's the way to stack this. So always imagine when you're stacking whole notes or something without stems, breves, etc., that you did have a stem, just we don't. So this would be how we'd stack this if this had to be a whole note structure. Okay, for problem number 2, I'm going to start with the note furthest, I think, from the center line. These are both pretty far. The F is a bit farther, so I'm going to start there. And I think we're just going to park it here. Stem going down. Well, let's go to the lowest note, I guess, first. This A down here. And I'm going to run a stem all the way down and through that A. Stem direction goes down because the F is the furthest from the center line. Now we need to add in all these other notes. Well, E is a second from the F, so it has to go just to the left and touching. I'm going to extend that ledger line just a bit in order to accommodate that. In fact, I'll extend the others a little too, just for aesthetics. The G is going to sit on the correct side of the stem. Which is that? Well, it would be on the right side because its stem would be down as well. E, stemmed as normal, it's not a second. B, oh, we've got a problem. B and A are the interval of a second. Whenever that happens, the lower of the two notes, in this case the A, has to be to the left of the B. Now we've got our second right in the center there. F, D. Both of these can stack as normal, and despite the fact that I wrote that, that's actually the way we should be stacking these. And you can consult the book for more examples, but hopefully this walkthrough will assist you in being able to stack these properly in your own music.